Hello everyone, I am Neetu from St. Paul School and I welcome you all in this class. And today in this class we will continue the 100 dresses. Part 1 already we have studied. So today we will study part 2, the 100 dresses, chapter number 6 from your first flight textbook. This chapter is written by Ilp Sor Ister. In the part 1 we already studied like that Vanda was absent in her classroom from 3 to 4 days, and when her teacher announced the name of the winner drawing competition, girls winner was Vanda Petronsky. Now we will continue the remaining part in this chapter. While the class was circling the room, circling means around, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Masoon a note. Miss Masoon was the class teacher of room number 13. A note. So the monitor brought a note for the Miss Masoon. Miss Masoon read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Attention class, everyone back to their seat. And when she clapped, when Miss Masoon clapped, because monitor brought a note given by the principal of that school, and when she read it, she became very happy and she clapped. Miss Masoon became very happy when she read that note and she clapped her hands and she said, "Attention class, everyone back to their seat." And as the students heard this attention word, they all sit. When the shuffling of feet had stopped, and when the shuffling means the sound of when students were taking their place, that time this sound known as a shuffling. Shuffling means the voice of feet, we can see, had stopped, and when in the room number 13 there was a completely silence. There was a all the students silently sat on their seat. That time Miss Masoon started to speak. "I have a letter from Vanda's father that I want to read to you." And Miss Masoon replied that, "I have a letter of Vanda Petronsky, which the letter was sent by Vanda's father, and I want that I read this chapter in front of you." Miss Masoon stood there a moment and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. And actually all the students also, they were wanted to know about Vanda Petronsky because from many days she was absent in the room number 13. The teacher adjusted her glasses. So she adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that what was coming. This letter from Vanda's father was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Masoon read the brief note. So now the next part is the letter which was sent by Vanda's father. So what he had written in the letter, that I am reading. "Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore." So her father, Vanda's father, is writing that, "Dear teacher, my Vanda," it means my daughter, "she will not come to your school anymore. Jack also," even Jack was a brother of Vanda Petronsky's younger brother. "Now we move away to big city. No more holler Polak." Polak means Polish. "No more ask why funny name." And now nobody will ask to us that, because her classmates, they were always thinking like that Vanda is such a strange name, is a funny name. So they always make fun at her. So now her father is writing that now we are shifting to a big city now. We did not belong to Borgin's Height because Borgin Height was a dirty place. But now we are shifting to big city. And there no one will ask to us like that why this Vanda and this Jack name is funny, and they will not make fun at my daughter. Plenty of funny names in the big city, and as you know, in the big cities plenty of names were different names were there of different students. So this short letter sent by Vanda's father. Then written, "Yours truly, Jan Petronsky." Jan Petronsky was the name of Vanda Petronsky's father. A deep silence met the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. And later then she cleaned her glasses. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low, and when she started to speak, her voice became low. I am sure that none of the boys and girls in room number 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be a long, unfamiliar one. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. I know that all of you feel the way I do. That this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened. Unfortunate and sad, both. And I want you all to think about it. And Miss Masoon, she started to speak to all the students, those who were in the room number 13. She said like that, I know you cannot do this because you all are mature. You all know how you have to behave with your classmate. But you should think about it, that why Vanda's father had written, why he has used this word, that now we are shifting to a big city. And in the big city, as you know, that many people will be there and they will have the different such this funny name, and now they will not make fun on my daughter and my son. The first period was a study period. Maddie tried to prepare her lessons, but she could not put her mind on her work. But the Maddie was completely disturbed because she wanted to know that where Vanda is. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Vanda how many dresses she had in her closet. Because earlier also she didn't like this question when Peggy was asking to Vanda about how many dresses you have or how many shoes you have. But she had said nothing. But she had not said anything to Peggy also, because she had this fear. If I will say anything, maybe Peggy will make fun on me also. Because she was also very poor. Not like Vanda Petronsky, but she belongs to a poor family. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was a coward. At least Peggy had not considered. They were being mean, but Mary had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Vanda's shoes. Goodness, was not there anything she could do? If only she could tell Vanda she had not meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance of Peggy, but Peggy did not look up. And all these things, all the ideas, whatever now Mary was thinking, she wanted to share with Peggy, but when she looked at her, Peggy was not looking at her. She seemed to be studying hard, and she found that Peggy is busy in the study, so she didn't say anything. She seemed to be studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Mary had to do something. She had to find Vanda Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her, and they would tell Vanda she had won the contest. That they thought she was smart and the 100 dresses were beautiful. So the Mary was thinking that we should go to meet with Vanda Petronsky. Maybe now till today also she will be there in the Boggins height. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if that kid has left down or not." So Peggy had some idea. Mary glowed. Peggy was really alright. The two girls hurried out of the building up the street toward Boggins Heights, the part of town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon. Drizzly, damp and dismal. Damp and dismal means wet and sad. Well, at least, said Peggy gruffly, I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and keen. Look how she can draw. So now Peggy started to say like that, I didn't know about it that she could draw such this 100 beautiful pictures. I was thinking like she is just like a dumb. She could not speak anything and she cannot do anything. But she won this drawing competition, and now her father sent this letter. It means she all understand whatever whenever we were making fun at her. Maddie could say nothing. All the hope was that they would find Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they picked on her and how wonderful the whole school thought she was. And please not to move away and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. And now they both were moving to the Boggins height. They were following the one girl who was coming from a Boggins height. There was no doubt about it. The Patronskis were gone. How could they were make amends? And now as they reached there, they found that Patronsky means the Wanda's family already gone from there. They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she has gone now. What can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good idea for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not get to sleep. She thought about Wanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in, and she thought of the glowing picture those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought this was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long time she reached an important conclusion. So now when that day Maddie came at her house, and when at the time of sleeping she was thinking about Wanda Petronsky, and she was praising her drawings, that how she had drawn such these beautiful pictures, the 100 colors, all different colors she had used. And later then she kept her fingers like this on her head, and at last she took a decision. She came at the conclusion. And what was that decision? She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up, even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. And now she decided that from today onwards, I will not tease anyone, I will not make fun, whether they have a funny name, whether they belongs to a poor family, or whether they coming from a dirty or a backward area. Maybe if she had to leave the Peggy's friendship, then also she will not repeat this again. She had no way of making things right with Wanda, but from now on she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. On Saturday, Maggie spent the afternoon with Peggy. They were writing a letter to Wanda Petronsky. So on Saturday, they both were writing a letter to Wanda. It was just a friendly letter telling about the contest and telling Wanda she had won. And they were writing in that letter that Wanda, you won that drawing competition. They told her how pretty her drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, but it ended up with their just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend, and they signed it with lots of thanks for love. They mailed the letter to Boggins Height, writing please forward on the envelope. And they sent this letter in the Boggins Height, and on that envelope they had written that please this letter forward to the Wanda Petronsky's present address. Days passed and there was no answer, but the letter did not come back. So maybe Wanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer. You could not blame her. And the both girls were thinking that maybe the letter not written, so maybe Wanda found this letter. Week went by and still Wanda did not answer. Peggy had begun to forget and the whole business, and Peggy for all this matter she forgot, but Maddie was not. She was not able to forget all this matter. And on the other hand, Wanda was hurt when she read this letter. And Paddy put herself to sleep at night making speeches about Wanda, defending her from great crowds of girls who were trying to tease her with how many dresses have you got, and before Wanda could press her lips together in a tight line the way she did before answering, Mary would cry stop. And every day when she sleeps in her room, every day in her mind the same questions she was thinking like that, how many dresses you, and suddenly she would say like this stop. Then everybody would feel ashamed the way she used to feel. Now it was a Christmas time. There was a snow on the ground. Christmas bells and a small tree decorated the classroom on the last day of school before the holidays. The teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning, and that day when the teacher entered in the classroom she had a letter. You remember Wanda Petronsky? And as the Miss Masoon entered the classroom, she told like that, you know about Wanda Petronsky? You remember that girl from our classroom, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest? Well, she had written me and I am glad to know where she lives, because now I can send her medal. I want to read her letter to you. The class sat up with a sudden interest and listened intently. So all the students silently they sat and they were listening the letter. Dear Miss Masoon, how are you? And room 13. Please tell me the girls they can keep those 100 dresses, because in my new house I have 100 new ones, all lined up in my closet. I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawings of the green dress with the red trimming, and her friend Mary to have the blue one for Christmas. And she wrote in the letter that this green dress, the 100 dresses which I have drawn, among the 100 dresses, please give the green dress to the Peggy and the blue one to the Maddie as a Christmas gift. I miss that school and my new teacher does not equalize with you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. Yours truly, Wanda Petronsky. She wrote this letter to her class teacher, Miss Masoon. On the way home from school, Maddie and Peggy held their drawings work carefully. And when Maggie and Peggy were coming from school, they all kept the drawing of the green and blue color. All the houses had wreaths and holly in the windows. Outside the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas trees were stacked, and in the window, candy, peppermint sticks, and cornucopias of shiny transparent paper were strung. The air smelled like a Christmas, and the light shining everywhere reflected different colors on the snow. Boy, said Peggy, this show, she really likes us. It shows she got our letter, and this is her way of saying that everything's alright. And that's that. I hope so, said Maddie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little tight-lipped Polish girl again, and could not ever really make things right between them. She went home and she pinned her drawing over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. But actually Maddie was not happy, because she was thinking that she wanted to meet with that Polish girl, but now it will not be possible because she left that place. The shabby room came alive from the brilliancy of the colors. Mary sat down on her head and looked at the drawing. She had stood by and said nothing, but Wanda had been nice to her anyway. Tears were flowing from her eyes and she gazed for a long time at the drawings. Then hastily she rubbed her eyes and studied The colors in the dress were so virtually used. The had scarcely noticed the face and the head of the drawing. But it looked like her, Maddie. It really looked like her own mouth. Why it really looked like her own self? Wanda had really drawn this for her. Excitedly, she ran over the Peggy's. Peg, she said, let me see your picture. What's the matter? Asked Peggy. So when Maddie came to her house and she started to look at that blue color dress, the drawing which was given by Wanda, when that day Wanda sent the letter to Miss Masoon, and in that letter she wrote like that, these two drawings give to Peggy and Maddie, and she found like that the face of that drawing just as my face, as the Maddie's face. So she went to the Peggy's house and she asked to Peggy that show me your drawing. What's the matter? Asked Peggy. As they clattered up to her room windows, Wanda's drawing was lying face on the bed. Maddie carefully raised it. Look, she drew you. That's you, she exclaimed, and the head and the face of this picture did look like Peggy. What did I say? Said Peggy. She must have really liked us anyway. Then they both realized that why Wanda had given these particular dresses for them, because on the blue color dress the face was just like Maddie, and on the green color dress the face was just like a Peggy. It means earlier she already drawn all this picture, and this picture showing that how she loved to Peggy and Maddie. Yes, she must have, agreed Maddie, and she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Wanda standing alone in that sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking stolidly over at the group of laughing girls after she had walked off, after she had said, sure, 100 of them all lined up. And then she replied that yes, 100 of them I haven't all lined up. So with this the chapter is over. I hope you understand this chapter and this thinking about the text. These questions you have to write, and the some questions already given after some part of this chapter, that also you have to write in your notebook, and the remaining 6 questions thinking about the text, that also you have to write in your literature notebook. Thank you for watching the video. Have a nice day.